A very good evening to you. Welcome to Mainland 98.3 FM. It's an amazing time to be on radio again. And today is the 24th day of the month of October, year 2024. Well, I want to believe your day has been going very well. The last 24 hours I've had, so much to talk about, so much to read, so much to consume, so much to digest, so much to also discuss and exchange ideas about. Wow, as against the tradition of what we've often gotten used to when it comes to change in cabinets or pushing a bit, reassigned to different ministries, reassigned portfolios, sacked or dropped, new people brought on board. I think the moment Mr. Bayo Onanuga gave that interview in respect to that the cabinet change of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not going to be a matter of if, rather it's going to be a case of when. I think a lot of permutations, a lot of projections, a lot of calculations, a lot of insinuations are started flying around. Who should stay? Who should leave? Who could be dropped? Where do you think the changes are necessary? So ministry is not exactly living up to the expectations. So minister have been missing in action since they got assigned their portfolios. It's just been a whole lot of things. And yesterday, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu announced the cabinet reshuffle. About 5 ministers were dropped. About 7 new ministers were brought on board. Some ministries were also, the CEO of the Nigeria League, MPFL, NNL, LMC, is now in charge. We'll talk about all of that maybe by 6 o'clock during Sports Cruise. You'll have more conversation around what that change, the redeployment of Senator John Enoh to the Ministry of Trade and Investment, and of course the scrapping of the Ministry of Sport. Remember, it was first separated. It used to be Ministry of Youth and Sport. It was separated. The Ministry of Youth stood, the Ministry of Sport also stood on it. So now the Ministry of Sport have been scrapped. Now it is more like just how it's happening under the National Sports Commission, but we'll talk about all of that on the show. There's just a whole lot. Today's Thursday, and it's the conversation we've talked about, some changes in terms of its kitchen cabinet, certain ministries that we think are not exactly living up to the expectations. We've talked about the newly created ministries, but more than anything else, is this the starts of the implementation of the Oᴘᴜᴜ reports. There were a lot of suggestions in that report that certain ministries should be collapsed, certain department or agencies should be scrapped. Is this the start of the implementation of the Oᴘᴜᴜ report? I was going to talk about all of that on the show today. And more importantly, the cabinet of the president had also increased. And I'm coming from a school of thought that believes in quality over quantity. I'm coming from a school of thought that feels like it is not having the largest cabinet that would guarantee you delivery. It is not having 100 ministers, and that means, these people will deliver. Sometimes the smaller it gets, and this one is coming up with this idea, this one is coming up with this idea, there's conflict of interest, there are ego plays. There was a time in Nigeria where certain ministers were not even talking to each other. They were not even exchanging notes. They were not even in good terms, and they are trying to keep a control. It is just from my own point of thinking that sometimes it is quality over quantity. But what do I know? I'm just to guide the conversation. And Mr. Miwade, 4 to 5:30 p.m. 90 straight minutes of conversation around leadership, of conversation around politics, governance, we focus on the situation, and that is why we call it the situation room. And everyone that listens and everyone that calls or texts, you're also roommate. So today I welcome you. My name is Ōkpēyēmī Akele. Mr. Miradeemi is also live on the show. Good evening. Good to have you join us. There seems to be some changes in the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and certain names were dropped. Certain names were also brought up. The APC gubernatorial candidate in the last election on the plateau, Dr. Nentawe Yetwada, was the former resident electoral commissioner for INEC in Benue State of this country. Has been assigned to take over the ministry of the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. So that's the conversation we'll also talk about. The Minister of Human Affairs was dropped. Mrs. Uju Ken Ohaneye, she was dropped. The Minister of Tourism, Lola Adejon, was also sacked. The Minister of Education, surprisingly, Professor Tahir Mamman, the former DJ of the Nigerian Law School, was also sacked. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, State, Abdullahi Mohammed Gwazo, was also sacked. And the Minister of Youth Development, Jamila Bio Ibrahim, also sacked. 5 of them sacked. And what that means is that the president sacked 5 ministers, reassigned 10 other ministers, and brought in 7 new nominees. Mr. Miradeemi, was that the script, or were you surprised by a few of those changes?
Well, I think we were surprised in the sense that we expected more from what we got. You know, remember that about 5 weeks ago, shortly before October 1st, I think about 4 weeks ago, I think the presidency came out to announce to Nigeria that there was going to be, I think, a cabinet reshufflement. So all hopes were high that maybe this is time to get the kind of people and environment and people that will lead us into a new Nigeria, or that will be able to have the capacity to implement the agenda of the Mr. President, given the fact that since May 29, when he came in, I think things have been a bit rough. Cost of living, I think, has been escalated beyond reach of average Nigerians. So, and I remember again that I think the presidency had come earlier to tell us that maybe some of the ministers were not doing good, were not doing well in interpreting these policies. So, when they were now saying that they are bringing new hands, certainly, I think we were all thinking of maybe the time has come to have the real people that will lead us to where we are going. And my brother, unfortunately, when we eventually, I think they came out with it, I think I could not see actually what we wanted. Because, yes, there were a few changes, but with the caliber of people we saw, at least can Nigeria now trust them? And these are the people that will take us to the moon. These are the people that will take us to El Dorado. Or these are the people, I think, that have the capacity this time around now, I think, to change the fortunes of Nigerians and make Nigerians to live. Well, I let us receive it with conscious optimism without trying to cast aspersion on the integrity of anybody. Let's see what they are going to do. But to me, there's nothing to roll out drums and start dancing about in these changes. Simply because, let me use the analogy of Professor Ladipo Adamolepi, a World Bank consultant and a leading public administrator, yes, administration scholar in Nigeria. Anybody who studied political science, sociology, or public administration, from 1980 down to this time, because I've read the books of Professor Ladipo Adamolepi. So I had interaction with him, I think, on the matter. What the man just simply said is that, well, I think that to him also, nothing exciting in what we are having. And the superior argument is this, that forget the lapses we are getting from the ministers. He said the center of government is extremely too weak in Nigeria. And what do you mean by the center of government? These are the body that really implement the policies, monitor, and see that things are as expected. Who are the people that constitute this center of policy? the president himself. 1, the vice president. 2, the chief of staff. 3, the secretary to state federal government, secretary to the federal government of Nigeria, SGF. And lastly, the head of service. So these are the core center of the governance. Meaning that, let's say in a school now, when you have the in your radio station, you have the real core management team that set agenda, monitor, and ensure everything works smoothly. If the management is weak and there's no better coordination among them, so there is tendency to start noticing lapses among members of staff. But if the center of management is up to what is expected, they know what they are doing and have the capacity to achieve what they wanted to achieve. The tendency of putting the ministers on their track, of putting them to ensure they do what is expected of them to do, is high there. So what we always say, in essence, is that in Nigeria, can we rightly say that the chief of staff, the head of service, and SGF, are they, with what we are getting from them, can Nigeria says we are getting enough coordination and to give us what actually we wanted as a country? They are the drivers, even from the Mr. President himself, that is the chief monitoring person. So can we say we are getting exactly what we wanted from them? So I think your answer is as good as mine. Can we say the SGF we have that is giving us the kind of deliverables expected of things? Again, your guess is as good as mine. Can we again say that the head of service is communicating well in the manner Nigerians actually will know what they are doing? Then I think not talk of the chief of staff. Remember the chief of staff we have. That when they name some names of the political appointees, we saw I think a 14 or 13-year-old name there. Even we saw name of some dead people as it's mentioned in the list. These are the people that coordinate the activities of the ministers and to ensure that ministers are up to the responsibilities bestowed on them. So if the center of government is weak, that is going to affect the performance. There's something, unless you just receive some few star boys among them. Do you understand? But in Nigeria, as the case may be, yes, they said they were doing performance index for all these people. Yes, they told us that they were going to make sure, I think that all ministers answered their, I think were scrutinized. You understand? And they marked according to their performances. Well, how that reflected in this, I don't know. But one, and to say this, the Minister of Education, apart, anybody will tell you in this part of the country that it has disappointed almost everybody. To the extent that you begin to wonder, what the man meant when he was drumming that for somebody to enter university in Nigeria must have been as old. Wonder, where is he coming from? Where is he coming from? Now that we saw somebody bagging PhD at the end of his state. Do you understand? So in this environment now, that go and see what 14, 15-year-old boys are doing with computer. Go and see what they are doing. I think with technology. So and we want to keep such vibrant guys at home doing what thing? Doing what? I don't know. So, but immediately Nigeria knew that this man and maybe does not understand what we are talking about here. So such a man is excused. Yes, he's a good radiant to go and go. You can say, well, some of them have been tested, and I think my brother, Salako, from environment to, what we call it, from environment to state, minister of health. Now, yes, I think you can say those we should expect more from them, from their experience. But by and large, my brother, I have not seen anything to share up Nigerians, but that does not mean that I'm writing them off. And that will be premature to do, because you cannot just underestimate any Nigerian. You cannot say what anybody can do, what he cannot do, until he proves or he or she proves himself. So I can wish them best of luck. I want them to prove themselves to Nigerians as the capacity. If they are choosing among the best, after over 250 million Nigerians, they were considered among the best. I think let them prove themselves. If that's the best the president says, I think it can gather up for us now. Yes, I think I'm not going to, at this moment, begin to judge. But suddenly, you begin to doubt that some of the people that will change, not how the day survive it. If indeed, I think the mark, the script,
that's the next line of question I will have asked you. I mean, it's.
Oh, yes.
Earlier today, the president of the Nigerian Senate, distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, communicated to the members of the Green Chambers the intention of the president to seek the approval of the new ministerial nominees. Dr. Nentawe Iwada assigned to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. Muhammad Maigari Danjai, Minister of Labor and Employment. Remember, we've not had a Minister of Labor and Employment since former Governor Simon Lalong left the ministry and went to the Senate. We also have the wife of the late Odumegwu Ojukwu, yes, that's Bianca Odinaka Odumegwu Ojukwu, assigned as Minister of State for Foreign Affairs. We also have Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, Minister of Industry, Trade and Development. Idi Mukhtar Maiha, that's the Minister of Livestock Development, that's a new ministry. Then Yusuf Abdullahi Atta, that's the Minister of State for Housing, and Dr. Shuaiba Saeed Ahmed, Minister of State for Education. Those are the people that the Senate would be screening maybe from next now. I mean, I look at the ministry in that responsibility. I don't know how, especially his issue with the current governor of the state. Talking about Mohammed Bello Matawale, the Minister of State for Defense. There's also Abubakar Kyari, that's the Minister of Agric and Food Security in Nigeria. I mean, look at what is going on with the security issues. There's increase in the rate of kidnappings now. It's crazy. One of a friend of mine that I worked in my former station, his cousin got kidnapped on Sunday, and we're all over it from Abuja, and she was kidnapped. How do you think they escaped the tsunami?
The agency or the committee public, I think, definitely advertise maybe in that ministry to do. Then again, and the macroeconomic policies, we are led up as a country. And come, you know what? Maybe not bad for people do not understand. I think most of the challenges we have in this country, the challenge they have is not because they increase the pump prices or they need the subsidies as it's well, and they need the food, I think, another against other currencies. So, almost every other thing in this country that the government render. If you remove the subsidy on the fuel, it's not our fault now. You increase to the service charge on what we are collecting on all other programs of private concerns. They will increase, I think, the prices of almost including stamp duty. I don't know anything in this country now that you can say you paid for before May 29, 2023, and the price remains. So even with the government, we are not talking of with foreign concern, with the government. So why can't you start doing that of subsidy and the floating of them. Why can't you see the effect of that on masses before you go haywire and continue to increase all the ministries, agencies, and departments? How to do with common man? Increase just went haywire and continue to increase. And you have the Minister of Finance there to understand the implications of this. So the micro and macro, so how is pass that exam, and I think it must have, maybe you have something to do, know what you don't know, or those who know that script. You understand?
Maybe the yardstick is different.
Something like, let's come to local balance. All the Oᴘᴜ we know more weird. You understand? Because all the indices of economics are furnished to us, and then when you are operating an economy without human face, when you are introducing, when you are managing an economy that you see that people are already hitting debris, I think on the streets, that people are having difficulty even in surviving in a country, at least with so much resources, natural and the material. So you need to wonder who is the Greek, the pastor, who had that script that gave Minister of Commerce, the Minister of Governor, who had the script that gave them tax man. But how they are doing it, everybody is sharing in secrecy, nobody is consulted. What can you consult Nigeria? What's wrong for opinion pool? We are grading, we are setting all these ministers. Let Nigeria just open the website. Go to map. I think we that feeling the impact of the policy, unfortunate. I don't know how they passed. Maybe some of our guys 2027 coming up, and you understand what I'm talking about. And again, but let me say this before you leave this area at all. We cannot talk of implementation of 괘ᴜ report here now. Because 괘ᴜ report was talking of, I think, the overhead cost, at least by shedding weight. Right. Now, do you know, you have created, they were having about 48 before, you are not mistaken, but now it's not 49. Because with what you have done, you have just created office for the Minister of State for, what do you call it? Minister of State for foreign affairs. We didn't have that one before. Right. So, and you also just created, I think, for the livestock, apart from those Greek. So, you just created me. So, before you were having 48, because you remove that of what do you call it? Stocks.
And Niger Delta.
Only stocks. No, Niger Delta was reintroduced to become for regional
development. Yes, commissions. Yes.
No, ministry. It's a now ministry, regional development, to coordinate the activities of these regional agencies. Just being created, some have been created.
So all of the Northeast Development Commission, the Southeast, the Southwest, they're all under, all matched together. Yes.
Yes, but that's not ministry. So not just the ministry, but that's a ministry for, I think, a regional development. Do you understand? Some have been created, some they are still working on it, but certainly, I think somebody have said that they see every reason to create regional development for all the 6 geopolitical zones in this country, which will bring another conversation, I think, entirely. Do you understand? So, but not to digress from where we are, let me stick to what we are talking about. So, what I'm saying is that we cannot talk of implementing 괘ᴜ report now, but critical analysis of this matter, because we had it for 8 before, and now we have it for 49. So, if 괘ᴜ was talking of streamlining, right, from this 48 we are having, maybe you reduce it to something like that, yes, at 30 or something like that, and now what we had there to, you know also that we added to, we will be adding to all this. So why is it that we are operating a bogus government that has not taken into cognizance the implementation of that 괘ᴜ report? This cabinet shake-up we have provided a good opportunity for the president to do that. This cabinet reshufflement supposed to be used, I think, as a stepping stone to make a statement that he meant it when he promised that he was going to reduce cost of governance, and he inaugurated the high-powered committee, I mean, to review voluntary reports and come out with the recommendation. They said the other time that committee has submitted its report to the presidency and to the state government, where is that report where they are bringing out this one. So the minister of state for foreign affairs now, state for foreign affairs, the two ministry, so with all the correspondence of office and other livestock, we are not agreed. Why the message will be different? It's not every another agreed. No main department or agency under agreed, but I think the president knows the best. But for us, at least that's possible for us to start, I need to celebrate now, as far as we are concerned.
Okay, Mr. Miwa, when I saw that list yesterday, yes, I just had to tell myself that from probably where I'm coming from, it is basically about quality over quantity. And if truly the government is in top how we view some of these things, see, a large cabinet doesn't exactly guarantee sensible governance. In fact, I feel it's often complicates decision making. Cost of governance is too large. The other side of let me say the other side of us now, that's the people governing us, are taking so much from the people they are governing. Did the president miss it yesterday, Mr. Miwa? Especially on the issue of putting it down. Rather, now we have two new ministries added to what we have on ground, even though some were merged together. Did the president miss it in terms of what Nigerians are expecting, making a massive statement with the fact that I hear your pains, will reduce what we're running on?
Well, I think to just say that he made the point when it comes to expectation of Nigeria is stating the obvious, right? It's stating the obvious because he told us that he was going to reduce cost of governance. That time, to the extent that he came out with the guideline and instruction of traveling and reduce traveling expenses of Mr. President and the likes. You understand? At that time they also told us to tell us that how they will do enough to reduce the personnel and able to give the action to that touch of this one. All Nigerians welcome this. Nigerians celebrated this. So Nigerians were not looking forward to, I think how we are going to reduce the cost of governance in Nigeria. We have said that it's simply too much. Everywhere, the number of people you have, some millions of ministries were duplicated year and year. Even some, you know that not of someone use their MDs and agencies. No, we don't have office. And you see overlap functions and lots of agencies that their relevance is not that important again in the country. We have because of the dynamic nature of human nature and the environment. Also, we have promised all these things. So Nigerians are expecting practical implementation of it. He told us, we didn't tell him, go and reduce the number of staff. We didn't ask him. He said it and was going to do it. But as we want to talk, with the number of ministers and the increment in the ministries we are seeing now, I'm not judging, I'm not marking it. I'm only analyzing based on what we can see, and what he has said, and what is now happening. So I'm not judging him, but to us, because maybe they know some things we don't know. But one thing is clear, we can hold them for what they have said. We can hold them accountable for what they promised. We can hold them accountable for what some of those things we have in their manifesto. Apart from that, we're not taking the agenda for him. No, we are not. But if he had told us, as our president, in whom we believe and trust, that I'm going to reduce lot of governance. We should streamline this department. Go, if you study also reports, you will see how we were able to bring out how some agencies perform the same functions. Even some agencies were fighting over assignment that no, it's not for us,
no, it's for you.
It's for us, it's not for you. And they said they were going to bring, for instance, let's say this, ICQC and EFCC. What was the difference? Are you there?
I'm with you, Mr. Adeyemi.
EFCC and ICQC, in fact, tell me, we're allowed to have anything about that.
From ICPC.
What are you doing? Yes. You know, we want to have a internal for the something you do. You understand? I mean, it was clear spread out in the other report that all these integrity agencies, these anti-corruption agencies, they were 3 or 4, and they will continue to become one. But they can have different departments among them. Do you understand? It was clearly stated here, and not really sure, and we have all that, and that is the environment. Even in that, there are plenty there. You understand? Yeah, what's supposed to be a department. Now it's running as a full MDA. You understand? So you need to imagine what are they doing. And in budget for all these people when they have nothing to do. You see, so I know that I want to mention it now. I was at one of these research institutes recently, about 2 years ago. I met the executive director of that research institute. And they asked him that what have we been able to achieve in the last 3 years? You understand? Okay, what are those things that your research? What have we impact? Not to see your impact of what are we investigate and find useful to the Nigerians. I think for 3-4 years, you must not honestly
place on anything.
Tell us anything that they have achieved. Only to the things they are paying salary. They are paying salary. What those schools are doing? What have you
researched? It's a research institute. What do you have? What are your discoveries?
Yes. What are your discoveries? And if you see this country, you know we have research institutes. But when the investigation is just to look at the flowers, and then we have research of flowers and the federal agency. You know, so there are only research of plants. Yes, I'm not saying we have it, but who is only one responsible to account was effective in some of these areas, and they advise the country how we can make them to be effective. Do understand? So because they similar their activities, their objectives were set out, but if the president is now going to 2 years, he did not do that. But the fact is not this, God, the fact is not a politician. It's not a technocrat, he's not a pure politician. If I'm going to always see any reform, anything also second time, which is started.
I started already.
We dominate, I think, the thinking of everybody around him, and which will reflect the policies both at level of conceiving them and level of implementing those policies. And I'm telling the truth. So the young governance in Nigeria is probably 2 years. That's after the 40th anniversary. So you begin to hear freeze cabinet. Some people have been insinuating, forget it. I'm saying this from somebody is going to say from a real point of view. She had been among the country to stay, and when she was there, and there was no issue against her. So someone that was not experienced, bringing her home now, forget not a member of AP, right? Forget that one. Bringing her to come and be Minister of State for Foreign Affairs. Yes, I think you can see, you cannot actually, I have masters in international relations, so I'm not mistaken. Yes, you can see, from the level of competence, I think that the woman, I think, due respect to her, that she's competent. And I said that, you see that
That political undertone of that appointment.
Like a political undertone or need. You get my point.
Absolutely.
So you get my point. So let our brother from Anambra go and start shout that.
Let them kick against the appointment.
So not only speaking. When the politics start to really start now, if our brother go and start, and he go to Street or whatever in Anambra, and least the to speak, I'm sure the uncle will go there and speak. Go and start, so you can understand and what they are talking about. So you show, but where the started, unless we are deceiving ourselves, we are started. So what we expected it, violent. This is the opportunity, I think, to what they promised us. Because go and look at our current expenditure, matching the capital expenditure, for you to understand what we are talking about. Even what I spend at stake, what is being spent on salary overhead, and to take care of less than 5% or 2% of the population, right? Because what to pay government workers. They decide their wages, no doubt about that. But what is the percentage of the of these people, right? In Nigeria, see how much they are taking the budget. This is the percentage, and this is the percentage they are spending on the capital. And whether it's only what to spend on capital that you and I benefit. Okay, I know you're not working for government, and I too I never worked for government. But the only what I enjoy from government, I haven't collected my tax every month, which I never escaped pay, right? Well, if there is road, and if there is power supply,
and the security,
and security, that's what I enjoy from government. They're not paying me, right? But see, the 250 million Nigerians will benefit essentially from the capital project, and see the less than 2 million working for federal government. See what they are getting, you understand, in the budget. So if we are not saying that, I think do what is normal. Make the make the civil service, make the government bureaucracy, make it sizable. And we are not inventing the wheel. We are not doing anything extra. There was already a good report done by one of the most competent personnel, at least that could do that. And he done it, and on your own, you ask them to go and bring that report. You understand, and let's look at it again. And you know that committee was building us to work and report back to the government. It's now 6 or 7 months after, right? But thankfully, the cabinet shake-up or the reshufflement that happened yesterday turned blind eyes and it's into that around report, I think, which is it does not work for the country and for the presidency.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miwa DME. Mr. Miwa DME is the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, and we get to do this every Mondays to Fridays. The situation room, but he joins me on Thursdays, and I would always go around issues, that are yearning and screaming for public attention. Now we're looking at the, cabinet reshuffle, the much anticipated cabinet reshuffle from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday. Like we said, 5 ministers were sacked. 10 of them were, redeployed or reassigned, and 7 others were brought up on board. Well, for Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Minister of Livestock, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. Remember, the former minister 𝐓𝐡 was suspended, still under investigation. We've not heard anything, but now that ministry is now to be handled by the former APC gubernatorial candidate in the 2023 governorship election in Plateau State. The former resident electoral commissioner for INEC in Benue State, and that's Dr. Nentawe Itwada, is going to be in charge of the Ministry of Poverty of sorry, Mr. Adeyemi, is going to be in charge of that ministry. Well, let's see how it goes. The next couple of days, especially when they get screened and cleared by the Senate. Let's see how they will be able to bring these issues on board. But I mean, let me also ask you, before we say our goodbyes on the show, under the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, people were calling for cabinet reshuffle, and it almost never happened. We had a Minister of Education that was there for almost 8 years, despite admitting that he doesn't exactly have so much idea about what he was assigned to do at the start. We had a Minister of Interior that was more interested in announcing public holidays and announcing successful jailbreaks. I'm talking about the former governor of Osun State, Aregbesola. We have Minister of Works, that was everywhere, working tirelessly. We have Minister of Housing, that was doing all he thought was the best and good enough, but Nigerians were still struggling with about 18 million units housing unit deficit. Is this a case of the president hearing what the people are saying? People were asking for cabinet reshuffle, and whether for the right or for the wrong reasons, but at least there was a cabinet reshuffle yesterday. Is this about the president, or we have a president that listens, or you also feel it's about political conversations here, Mr. Adeyemi?
Let me start with answering this particular question by saying that for a country, for a serious country, we can't use the discussion of Buhari as a template to discuss, I think, how a country
should be governed
when it comes to yes. But if you are doing a thesis on how not to run a country, you understand? I think that's when it comes to play. Wherever you can use it as a good reference point, as a good reference research work. So how not to run a country. Yes. Just if somebody for 8 years has installed some colonels, barracks, you understand, high chiefs into the ministries, and they were there as if it's their father's inheritance, that nobody checked them, no evaluation, no assessment, quite unfortunate. So, but Tinubu came, you remember that when immediately after swearing that they were going to be assessed, that after a year, those who did not measure up his assessment will be dropped. Will be dropped. That was his promise. That's what we can ask him to do. And having said that, as I said, we are not expecting to do it in a way and manner. I think that will make Nigerians to trust him the more. Right? That when the president said this and he did it, even those in office now will know that one day, they were going to account for every minute they spent in that office. But with what he has done, I think I don't see how that will happen. That once you know your way and you are not involved in any open criminal activities that will make market open. I'm not saying no, not stand. Open or conspicuous many criminal activities. You understand? That will make Nigerians raise eyebrow. Certainly, and you know your way, you belong to the right caucus, even in the cabinet. So you may escape any assessment. So that's what lesson we can easily learn for what has happened, and which of course is quite unfortunate. But by and large, for him to have come and do this, well, is the way forward. I would like to have since ministers will drop out of 48. Yeah, we can say that. And we can say that we move some people from this to that, from this to that. But without minding that the man is bringing now as education minister. The man, he's a doctor. He was years before. So he quickly and smartly put PhD in front of his book. So
that they know that it's not a medical doctor.
You can't he's a medical, you can't know the that. He is a medical doctor, but for you, at least to know that, well, I think you are not just a medical doctor. You know, I have a PhD holder. And we now begin to wonder if a ministry that, you know, the man removed from the place, Mama, right? Well, you know, he used to was a VC before the university.
And he was also the dean of the Nigerian Law School.
Nigerian Law School.
From 2000 and... yeah.
So somebody in the system, right? And if you remove somebody in the system and if for not performing as expected, and you brought somebody from teaching hospital in US, at least come and manage ASU and NASU, and what? If you understand the language, it's too early to start deciding it. It's too early. So, but if you understand the demands and expectation of ASU, so we want to see, I think, Ahmad, at least to do that one. But by and large, yes, the Minister of State for Education. When you have learned enough lessons to perform better, I think let's wait and see. But to me, I think until we approach the cultures of citizen, that's much I would not want, I think, to discredit or to, at least not giving anybody chance. I think to prove himself. For the next 4, 5 months, at most 6 months, so we will be in better position to begin to assess this new fresh and this new blood injected in the system. If we are better than the predecessor forces. So let's give them better benefit of doubt. So I'm appealing to our people that let's give them that benefit of doubt. Let them prove themselves. Right? So let them prove themselves. So let them call them the names they want us to call, whatever they call themselves. So now I think they are still new and fresh. So they are welcome about.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adyemi. I will have to let you go now because we're due for our first break. We need to quickly pay some bills. When I come back, I will just link up with reading the messages and also picking the calls. Thank you for spending time with us on the show today. Mr. Adyemi is the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, and in case you're tuning in for the first time, he joins me on the show every Thursdays from 4 to 5:30 to look at issues that we need to talk about. And today we looked at the cabinet reshuffle that the president carried out yesterday. 5 sacked, 10 assigned and reassigned, and 7 new blood are brought up on board to further drive home the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Once again, thank you very much, Mr. Adyemi, for finding time to be with me on the show today. God willing, we'll link up again next week, Thursday.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I will do for a break. I will need to quickly pay some bills. When we come back, your messages on Facebook and of course your calls. What do you make of the cabinet reshuffle of the president? I mean, is this a testament to the fact that he listens to what the people are saying, or you also think it's about quantity over quality? I mean, we're talking about reducing the cost of governance, but this time around we're even adding more of the ministries, the newly created ministries. Are they really worth it? Talk to us about all of that, but that would be after the break. On the dot of 5 o'clock, when we come back, we'll pick your calls. 0913-600-0410. I'll take the number again. It's 0913-600-0410. You can also go on YouTube or Facebook, youtube.com/mainland98.3 or facebook.com/mainland98.3 FM. You drop your comment and I'll take them after the break.
Listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. Sound of Lagos. Chai, my head oh. Oga landlord, why you dey shake like ceiling fan? My village people don't come again oh. This one with your body hot so, you don't do test? Yes, see result oh. Oga landlord, no be your village people oh. Na malaria, you need Luther. Luther na better medicine wey dey knack down malaria. Oya see am, take am. Thank you Oga Luther. I don't dey kampe.
Luther, brand of Artemata and Lumefantrine, is another quality product from Hovid, marketed by Pharmatex Nigeria Limited. If symptoms persist after 3 days, see your doctor.
Everybody say thanks, Luther. Malaria's in big trouble.
Hey there! Yes, you! You just won 5,000 Naira cash! And you, sitting by the side, there's 1 month Showmax subscription to watch the Premier League waiting for you! You behind! Of course! You're not left out! How does 1,000 Naira airtime and 2,000 Naira Uber discount sound? All this could come true when you buy the No Unwrap and Win pack, open it, look for a cube with a 6-digit code on its wrapper, text the code to 8011 and follow the prompts to stand a chance to win any of these instant prizes. Promo valid from July till December. Terms and conditions apply. Get extra value on the No Unwrap and Win pack. No, eat for good.
Chai, my head oh. Oga landlord, why you dey shake like ceiling fan? My village people don't come again oh. This one with your body hot so, you don't do test? Yes, see result oh. Oga landlord, no be your village people oh. Na malaria, you need Luther. Luther na better medicine wey dey knack down malaria. Oya see am, take am. Thank you Oga Luther. I don't dey kampe.
Luther, brand of Artemata and Lumefantrine, is another quality product from Hovid, marketed by Pharmatex Nigeria Limited. If symptoms persist after 3 days, see your doctor.
Everybody say thanks, Luther. Malaria's in big trouble.
Hey there! Yes, you! You just won 5,000 Naira cash! And you, sitting by the side, there's 1 month Showmax subscription to watch the Premier League waiting for you! You behind! Of course! You're not left out! How does 1,000 Naira airtime and 2,000 Naira Uber discount sound? All this could come true when you buy the No Unwrap and Win pack, open it, look for a cube with a 6-digit code on its wrapper, text the code to 8011 and follow the prompts to stand a chance to win any of these instant prizes. Promo valid from July till December. Terms and conditions apply. Get extra value on the No Unwrap and Win pack. No, eat for good.
Listening to Mainland 98.3 FM.
Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there is not. If there were,
In our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday the perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us, man, there is nothing. We are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join 괶 Akínyòdé as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial Mainland 98.3 FM. We'll welcome you your mates as we discuss the situations.
Thank you very much, and I'm happy with the fact that you're still listening to the show. and gladdens my heart even more that we could, have on the show today Mr. Miwa Adeyemi, the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper. We had to, dig deep to find out, in a way, appraise the cabinet reshuffle of the president. It was a conversation that we've had on the show for about 3 straight Thursdays, especially since, Mr. Bayo Nonuga announced that the president is going to have a cabinet reshuffle. And the newly appointed ministers, as announced by the president yesterday, was the Minister of State for Education, Suwaiba Said, the Minister of State Housing and Urban Development, Yusuf Abdullahi Mukhtar Mehad, the Minister of Livestock Development. Remember, that's a new ministry just set up. Well, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. And don't forget that the Minister of Sports, Senator John Eno, has been also redeployed to be the Minister of Trade, Investment and Industry, Trade and Investment as Minister of State. So there's also the Minister of Foreign Affairs State, Bianca Ojukwu. There's Megari Dangiadi, the Minister of Labor and Employment. Remember, that ministry have not had a minister, except the Minister of State, of course, since the former governor of Plateau State, now Senator Simon Bakula Long, left the ministry to take up, his role as a senator. And of course, the man that contested on the platform of the APC to be the governor of Plateau State, but lost to the PDP governor in power right now, Dr. Yiwada Nentawe, the former resident electoral commissioner for Benue State, is now to oversee the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and poverty reduction. Let's see how all of these people will be able to, further drive home the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And remember, as those 7 were being brought on board, 5 actually lost their jobs. Uju Kanane, the former Minister of Women Affairs, Lola Adejohn, the former Minister of Tourism, Tari Imam and Prof, the former Minister of Education, the former DG of Nigerian Law School, former Vice Chancellor of Bayes University, Abuja. There's also Abdullah Mohammed Gwazo, the former Minister of Housing and Urban Development, and the former Minister of Youth Development, Jamila Bio Ibrahim. Those 5 were sacked and relieved of their duties yesterday. But the question is this. Expectations were, high when this cabinet was set up, but Nigerians don't even know the yardstick of which, they were sacked. Well, we knew there were going to be performance assessment based on, KPIs and all of that, but whatever it is, we still have the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari. There's so much Kyari everywhere. In the NNPC Limited, there's Kyari. In the police, there's Kyari. In the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, there's also Abubakar Kyari, CON. There's Bello Matawale Mohammed, the former governor of Zamfara State, now the Minister of State for Defense. A lot of people were asking, how did he escape, especially with the recent allegation by the current governor of Zamfara State saying that his predecessor was involved in ransom payment to bandits when he was governor. Well, the immediate past governor of Osun State as well, the current Minister of Marine and Blue Economy. We've not had so much coming out from that particular ministry. But maybe the president knows best. I'm sure he has all of their reports, and maybe some need more time than the other. Let's see how it goes. Now it's time for you to join the conversation. Mr. Miwa Adeyemi had left. I had to excuse him for that engagement. So you have time to talk to us. 0913-600-0410. What do you make of the cabinet reshuffle? Is that the way to go? And do you think these people will also help the president to drive home his agenda of fixing the country? Hello, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, Mr.
Your name, where are you calling from?
My name is Mr. Akim. I'm speaking from Papa.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm very good, and I trust you as well.
You see, my view about all this, I've been a listener to your program for more than a year now. And my feeling is that I think the trajectory of assessing this government needs to be changed. And because there's not much of what you discuss on the radio that changes their direction. now you know both pre-election and the post-election of this present government, there are a lot of things they have said that they never make it possible. And over the time, even the disposition of even the president doesn't really give us any hope to even believe in it, because deficit has reduced. Even the expectation deficit is there. Like this cabinet reshuffle now. You can see that even the 괘ᴜᴜ reports that they at a time bring up never reflected in this cabinet reshuffle. So all these things has really, I've just been thinking that what other way can you people be using to assess this government and be giving them all this, because what you have been saying all along has remained the same thing. There's no changes. They don't even feel that whatever is said on the radio has any effect on them. So this has really been my view over this.
Thank you. We can't stop talking. I will keep talking. We keep asking the right questions. I will keep providing platforms for people, to also have their thoughts, their fears, expectations, and every other thing you would want, to share on radio. So we have to keep going. Hello, Mr. Gege Joshua. Good to have you on the show today.
Rob, good evening. Can you hear me? Good
I'm
evening.
with you.
Okay. This is Gege Joshua calling from 괘ᴜᴜ. We just have to be sincere with ourselves, In fact, when I went through the profile of this newly appointed minister, I am not convinced. Of course, it is necessary. If you think they are not performing, you can change them. But then, I have no hope in some of all these. And these are not portfolio that we even change. We're talking about the present situation we're having in the country, economy. Look for something to do. Maybe another minister to manage our
Minister of Petroleum.
Yes, Ministry of Petroleum, Ministry of Power. You understand? Even Educational Ministry.
Well, the education was changed. The Minister of Education was sacked.
So we're talking about things that we affect the country. See, personally, if we're talking about changing of any ministry at all, I would say change anybody you need to change just to make sure we have not even electricity, security. If we are able to tackle insecurity in this country today, everything will start falling in place. A lot of people are in the city today just because of fear in the village. So instead of them to stay in the village and work, maybe farm and all that,
everybody's coming
to the city. And there is no job in the city. If you are not putting pressure in the city, after that one, solve electricity issue. If there is power today in this country, a lot of people will be self-employed. A lot of people want to be creative. With that, we are moving on gradually. You understand me? How long have I been to my village? I cannot say because one, no motivation, I will go there, no light. Like the local government, we are the reason why Ondo State is an oil producing area.
The government is not producing.
Over 15 years.
No electricity supply.
Okay, now that oil is 1,000 plus. How do we power our gen? So the entire local government is in darkness, and you want us to be happy. You are changing minister. Changing minister for what? It is where this country, let's just be managing it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joshua. I think we had this conversation about the Ministry of Petroleum. Yes, we have a Minister of State for Petroleum, the President himself being the Minister of Petroleum. One would have expected, with all of the pressure and responsibility that comes with presiding over a country of this size, over 230 million people scattered across the state and the FCT, divided along about 774 local government with over 176,000 polling units. You would expect that alone is a big responsibility. Perhaps the president should have used yesterday to announce a substantial Minister of Petroleum that would focus mainly on fixing petroleum issues in this country. Wow. You mean they know the president knows best, better than everybody else? You want to assume. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Good evening, Mainland FM. How are you doing?
I'm well, and you?
I'm very well. We bless the Lord. You guys are doing a great job. I'm
Thank you. Mr. Ralph, where are you calling from?
Ekpaja.
Okay.
Okay, so at first I want to say that a lot of us, we should just chill. You know why I would say we should chill? I'm sorry, I don't know if I'll be blocked by saying this, but President at the moment have shown how clueless he is. Sorry to say. I tell you the truth. You remove a woman from being a minister of women affairs, and you are putting a man. Who does that? In which country have that been done? If you divorce your wife, will you get married to a man? No. Over time, you get married to a woman. No, so my brother. That is one. Two, the presidents have not been open and sincere to us. Back then in school, a lot of us did subsidy time. When we were in school, we were writing thesis. Remove subsidy, impact of subsidy. If you remove, you don't remove. Who say to save money when you remove subsidy? Are they shown us how much we've made? Sorry, I'll round up with this. Our president is like that father at home who tells the children to fast, but he goes out in canteen to eat plate, extra eba, more of eba, with extra plate, with pepper soup and beer to wash it down. That's how it's looking. Seriously, my brother, it's looking that way. It's looking that way.
Thank you.
I tell you true. I will wrap up by saying our president is still running around. He's here to find his bearings. Thank you very much. But so after 4 years, we determined for him.
Thank you very much. That's interesting, by the way. We have a man in charge of Ministry of Women Affairs. Interesting. We used to have Barrister Ojuken Ohaneye as the Minister of Women Affairs, but she was sacked yesterday. And moving from the Minister of State Police Affairs, Sulaiman Ibrahim was redesigned to be the Minister of Women Affairs. I mean, my last caller just said, if you divorce your wife, do you marry a man? Interesting. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Mr.
Good to have you join us on the show today.
God bless you, sir. Mr. Chukwudi from Stangu.
Good to have you, Mr. Chukwudi.
So the only thing I want to say is nothing but all these cabinet reshuffle, this and that, all stations, all platforms, as if we could die there. As far as I'm concerned, as far as many Nigerians are concerned, this thing is not necessary. I mean, all the talk on this. What we need is we are hungry. Want to eat. Not all this, because people are just begging and helping. You see other platforms or listen to other platforms. Say, I beg, you are in a position to tell the government something better. Okay? Let them discuss something better. Let them do something better. Not go shop on. That one not go benefit us. We are hungry. We are hungry. Simple. And your thoughts, you know.
Okay.
God bless you, my dear.
Thank you very much. I think I need to quickly read some of the messages we have on Facebook that are really piling up, and so that it doesn't look like we're ignoring the people on that side. Chris Enwalem on Facebook says, the cabinet reshuffle and the sacking of some ministers to me is an effort in futility, because the president has refused to address the critical issues of fixing the 4 refineries and providing food security. Until he sacks himself as Minister of Petroleum, relieve of the management of NNPC of their duties, deal with the wicked cabals that have taken over the petroleum industry, cut down the cost of governance, and demonstrate competence and capacity to alleviate the plight of the downtrodden, nothing will change. All he's doing now is mere window dressing. Can you tell us what Ibrahim Gaidam is doing as the Minister of State Police Affairs? Christopher Ofiong says President Tinubu's cabinet reshuffle. I think the president is using all means to buy time till 2027 election. I cannot imagine all the marketing the APC wants to market Mr. Tinubu in 2023. I can believe that this is what Nigerians will be going through under the administration. In fact, the APC have done a lot in this country. For a simple under this APC government, we've had new developments such as budget padding, vote buying, subsidies gone, inclusive election, electricity ban A to Z, upcoming bill. Christopher, I got your message on Facebook. Thank you. And I read all of the sarcasm that you included in that particular message. 0913-600-0410. Mr. Miwade has been my guest on the show. I was just having a review of the cabinet reshuffle that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did yesterday. Now we have a man as the Minister of Women Affairs. Enough said. Okay. Let me read your messages. And it says, good evening, Okpa. God bless your guest. I don't miss your Thursday show. But the truth is this, why do we have a... Okay. He said, why do you have a man as Minister of Women Affairs? Is it that we don't have competent women that can handle it? If you removed Barrister Uju, why not replace her with another woman? Interesting, by the way. I mean, it's almost like trying to, choose someone to head maybe... an agency for people living with disability. It is basically about putting people that understand where the shoe pinch is. It's more like having a minister of or maybe a national youth leader of a political party and is already 72 or 69 years old. It is simple. The Minister of Women Affairs should be a woman. We have a lot of credible women in this country that can handle that responsibility. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Can you put down the volume on your radio set? Are you turning off completely, please? Thank you.
I have done that.
Okay.
I have done that.
Now let's talk.
Yeah, this is Paul from Better.
Good to have you join us, Mr. Paul.
Yeah, okay, it's effort in futility. There is nothing new with APC regime. They have no vision. Their vision is not impactful to the public, to the citizenry. APC is a party that is self-centered. Once they satisfy their people, their political members, and those who help them to win elections, they don't care about the Nigerian people. I pray that what is happening in the U.S. today, if you have followed the U.S. election, you will discover that the people are campaigning on the basis of what is affecting the American people.
Simple.
The border, the economy.
Simple. Security. Employment.
Security.
That's exactly what they're campaigning with.
The cost of living. During your own country campaign, watch what you will be hearing. Religion, tribe, it's a political juggernaut. He knows how to structure. Did you hear anybody talk about structure in the U.S.? Nobody. Those campaigning, both Harris and Trump, both the ex-president, each time they are addressing the people, they are talking of what will benefit the people. And that is why the people are voting. They are not voting based on color or educational background or family background or from the
people are raising issue-based campaigns.
Issue-based campaign. Tell me, on what ground did the APC run their last 2023 general election campaign? Nothing. You can't hold them for anything. The only thing they said is this thing, they will remove subsidy. Without telling us when they remove subsidy, what they are going to give to the Nigerian people. We are pressing on radio, television programs to ask, if subsidy is gone, what will you give to Nigerian people in replacement of it? No answer was provided. I mean, it's quite boring. It's appalling that in this 21st century, we are still running around without a substantive thing to offer to the world. The black world, even the Western world, they are looking up to see something coming from Africa. And that is Nigeria. But we have failed the world. We have failed humanity. How can you post a man to be a minister of women's affairs? There are some personal discussions about women that man cannot discuss. So you see that we are going nowhere. It's quite unfortunate. And 2027 is approaching. There is no electoral reforms. We are not talking about reforms. We are not talking of INEC, their poor performance of the last election. We are not talking about that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Let me read your messages again before we say our goodbyes on the show. Good evening, guys. The new cabinet reshuffle by the president is an indication that we have a president that listens to us. Things may not be exactly how we want them to be, but the move of the president shows that when you don't perform, you get thrown out. Next will be the directors of the department and agencies scattered across the country. Many of them needs to go. Thank you very much, and thank you for bringing Mr. Miwa. Thank you for joining us. That's Sɪᴛᴜ from Ikorodu. I think I can still squeeze in one more call. Oh, Prince Wise. Hello. Prince Wise, can you hear me? Okay. I'm sure he doesn't even have picked up his call. Okay. Thank you, John Bernard. Thank you. I'm making my confirmation on that. 1 minute. Let's do this real quick, Mr. Michael.
Good evening. This is Michael from Sɪᴛᴜ. First of all, I don't know where people are hearing this fake news that the Minister for Women Affairs.
Yes, I just ran the confirmation now.
It's a woman.
Yes.
She was in charge of police.
Minister of Women Affairs for state.
Exactly, because I don't understand how everybody just running with it. For me, the president knows his KPI, and he has already set it for his people. If they fail, he has the prerogative to remove them.
Shouldn't the people know what these KPIs are?
At a point, I think there was something online on tracking the performance of ministers, but people are not interested. You understand? And two, if the president likes, he should remove everybody and put angels there. People will still criticize. My point is that they should just feed this economy for us.
And Suleiman Ibrahim is not a man. That's the current Minister of Women Affairs. She was the state. She was let us interesting today. Player of the year, the young player of the year, the functioning under the National Sport Commission. All of that will be up by.